Hi, this is the second part of the lecture on the analysis of the Happy Prince, this short story. The previous lecture was uploaded last week, and here we are with the other parts of the analysis. This is the second part and the last part on this short story. So now we are to talk about the minor characters in this short story, which is number one, the reed. She decides not to accompany the swallow, who has been courting her, breaking his heart. She is too close to her home and cannot bear the thought of leaving with the swallow. So the reed plays a great role in this short story, though she is a secondary or minor character. She is not the protagonist. She is only a secondary, excluded, unseen character. The reed, when she refuses the courting of the swallow, this will leave a deep effect in the heart of the swallow. This rejection, this refusal, will lead to the development, to the perfection of the swallow. This leads the swallow to recognize his real, aim and goal in life. So the reed plays a great role in this short story. And the second one is the town councillors. They are greedy and obsessed with their public images. They cannot understand the humanity of the dead prince and of a little bird, but they are too busy in their daily pursuits to increase their money, rank, and power. So the town officials, they are the town councillors. Okay, they play the role of, let's say, the antagonists. They are the antagonists of this short story. They are the bad guys of this short story, because they cannot, understand the motives, the aims, the goals of the statue of the swallow. They think they just judge. They give judgments about the cover, as that famous fable says. The proverb says that do not judge a book by its cover. So they judged the book by its cover. They judged the statue by its cover, by its jewelry. When they found that the statue is no longer beautiful, so this led them to melt down the statue, to destroy it, and to build another statue of the mayor of the town. So they are the antagonists of this short story. They are the bad guys. They are on the other side of the statue of the swallow. And the third minor character is the poor woman. Her son is ill. She struggles to make enough money to take care of him. She receives that ruby from the sword of the prince. Again, here we have the representation of the lower class, those poor people who have been suffering so much during this classist society. In this classist society, on one side we have the mayor, the councillors, we have those rich people, the higher classes of the society. On the other hand, we have the working class, we have the poor people, the lower class, the poor woman who is suffering. Her son is ill, she has nobody to provide for her life. She is suffering so much in this unequal life. So she represents that side of the society, of the lower class society. She represents the majority of the society, the normal people. Okay, the greater numbers of the society. And the fourth minor character is the young playwright. He is starving and struggling to complete a play, but he is unable to concentrate because he is so hungry. He receives the frost sapphire eye. This is interesting because look, in most of the writers, of the great writers, like for example we have Harold Pinter, we have those great writers like Edgar Allan Poe, we have the French absurdist writers, we have this guy here. They mostly write about writers, they write about playwrights, they write about novelists, they try to reflect their own misery in their stories. It is like their own life in the story. They try to show the people what they are going on, what they are experiences, from what they are suffering. That's why we find the appearance of this character of the writer, the character of the writer. It is so recurrent. It is like a motive in these texts and in these literary works. So here the writer tries to Oscar Wilde tries to show us that even creativity does not work in a poor society. When you are in need of money, when you are in need of a better life, when you are struggling to have a better life, you cannot present your innovative ideas. You cannot create new ideas or write in a better way. That's why of course, this is a Marxist idea that everything is about economy, everything is about the classes, everything is about money. Once a society has enough money, that society is striving, is flourishing, it is completing itself, it is moving towards perfection. On the other side, when a society is poor, that society is going down in morality, in science, in innovation. It doesn't have anything to present to the world. That's why this is a Marxist idea. This guy seems to have been under the effect of Marxism, especially in this comparison between the higher classes like the mayor and the lower class like this playwright and the old woman. Number 5, we have Little Match Girl. She drops the matches that she is supposed to sell and is crying because she knows that she will be beaten by her father when she will return home without the matches or any money. She receives a sapphire eye. Again, here, as we talked in the previous lecture, we said that these writers, these socialist writers, they always try to put a character, a child in their writings, in their texts, because they believe that the innocence of the child cannot be debated about. For example, we might think that the playwright is not a good guy. He deserves that poor life. He deserves that miserable life. He deserves to suffer. But no one will say that the little girl, a child, a kid, deserves to suffer. That's why they always try to invest their writings. They always try to borrow and to write about children in their works, because all the readers will sympathize with their ideas, with their writings. Of course, it is a very clever way to present your ideas when you try to play on the emotional strings of the readers, of your audience. This is a very tricky idea you can use in your writings. And number 6, we have the mayor. He orders that the statue must be turned down. He wants the metal to be made into a statue of himself. Again, here we have the antagonist of the short story. We have this greedy guy who doesn't think only about himself. Who thinks only about himself. He orders the statue to be melted down and to be recreated in his own image, because he thinks that he deserves to be in the center of the city, in downtown, and everybody should worship his statue. And he believes that he can survive after his life. He believes that we can, immortalize ourselves with these superficial things. Yet he forgets that only good things immortalize one and after his death. So let's move on to the second thing. If you remember in the first lecture, we said that setting is composed of 4 important components. We have time, we have place or geography, we have culture, and we have hour. Let's see these components, these factors in this short story. As for the time, it is only 6 weeks after the swallow's friends move to Egypt. When we if you have read the story, and I hope you have read it, The swallow does not move with his friends to Egypt, uh, and in autumn, because in some places uh, the weather becomes so cold, and these animals need to migrate into other warmer areas. So the place time is 6 weeks after the summer, after the swallow's friends moved to Egypt. And as for the place, I googled the place and I found that the place is in Haiti, and Haiti is in America. Okay, it is in the Caribbean area. Okay, it is high above the city, the river, and the city between the feet of the Happy Prince in the palace of Sans Souci. Okay, so it is in downtown. It is in a very important area near the castle, the palace. And as for the culture, the palace is in Haiti, but the moral lessons are universal. As for the culture, we said that the culture plays a very great role in a short story, in a novel, in fiction in general. But here, the culture in this short story, it is very universal. We cannot say that this culture is English or American or Iraqi or Egyptian or Lebanese or Saudi or Afghani or any other area, or Irish as the culture of the writer itself, of Oscar Wilde. So the culture here is universal, and the culture, it does not have some specific culture that affects the movement, the development of the plot. So the culture here does not play a great role in this short story because it is universal. And number four, the events happen in different hours of the day, so they do not play a role in the development of the story. Again, we have different hours, different times during the day in this story, so they do not have that great impact on the development of the story. And let's move on to the plot. As we said, that we have four major parts in a plot. We have exposition, conflict, climax, and resolution. So as for the exposition of the story, here there was a prince who had everything in life. He had not experienced any sorrow. He is determined to help people in any way he could. So exposition here, the function of the exposition is to present an introduction about the story. Tries to pave the way for the future events. So it introduces you to the characters, to the time, to the place, to the conflict. And the second one is the conflict. There were so many miseries, but the prince could not do anything about them because he was dead, and now he is a statue that cannot move. So the conflict here, we have the beginning of the problem. Okay, we see that the prince wants to help people, but he cannot move. That's why he will ask for the help of the swallow. There is the swallow who is his messenger to people. So this is the beginning of the problem, the beginning of the sufferings of these characters. And the climax, the highest point in the problem, is after all the jewelries that came from the statue ran out, its people thought that the statue is no longer beautiful. So the problem number one is that people, this is the problem of the society. They always look at your outside, at your cover, okay, at what you have, what you wear, okay, the perfumes you wear, the costumes you put on. That's why this is the problem in this short story, that when they saw that the statue lost all its jewelries, they thought that it is no longer beautiful. And the second problem, that the second part of the climax, is the swallow died because of the weather, and the statue of the Happy Prince is melted down by the mayor and councillor. Again, here this is the tragedy. We see that the swallow and the statue are dead. They no longer exist because of the weather and because the statue was melted down. So this is the highest point of the climax. This might bring some of the readers into tears. This might shed your tears, okay? And again, we have the Happy Prince's lead heart was thrown away by them. The heart is the core of a person, of an idea, of an animal. So the heart was thrown away. It was not embraced. It was not respected by people. So this is a real tragedy according to Oscar Wilde, and this was the climax. And for the resolution, the last part, the end of the problem, or the solution to the problem, God asked the angel to find them, to find the swallow and to find the statue. And the angel brought back the dead swallow and the lead heart of the happy prince. God was happy and said that the swallow now can sing in paradise garden forever, and the happy prince shall praise forever in a city of gold. So again, this is, of course, the climax was so tragic, it was so miserable, but here we have a compensation. This is like a gift by God. This rises our emotions. This gives us some happiness. It gives us some inspiration and a happy ending. And let's move on to the type of narrator and conflict. As for the narrator, the point of view, the narrator in this short story is third-person narrator. He uses the omniscient point of view, which means he knows and sees everything objectively. So we have the third-person narrator. He has a panoramic look. He has a panoramic angle towards all the events. He sees the events from above. He can see everything in the short story, all the events, all the characters. He is the omniscient or the godlike point of view. Okay, and he tries to be objective. He is not biased towards anyone. This is the way a third-person narrative is supposed to be. And the conflict here is character against society. We have the struggle, the conflict of the characters, the statue, the swallow against the corrupted society, against that classism, against that classist society, against the higher class, against against the superficiality of the society. This is the type of conflict here. And we have, as for the literary devices, we have personification. It is a figure of speech in which a thing or an animal is given human characteristics. It becomes a human. Personification, in short, it means that when you give life to inanimate things, for example, when you deal with an animal in like a human, you talk to that animal, you make that animal talk back to you. Okay, so this is called personification. In short, it means when you make an inanimate object animate. That's very short. Okay, when you give life to something that doesn't have life, like an object, when you make an animal like a human. Okay, this is called personification. So here we have the swallow and the statue are given human characteristics and act like humans. Like we have the swallow, he has emotions, he talks, he plays a great role in this short story, and he suffers so much, and finally he dies, and his death leads us to grieve and make us sad. And the statue, that motionless object, begins to talk. He comes to life. He acts like a human. So this is the personification of the short story. And as for the moral values, there are numerous. There are maybe tens of moral values in this short story. But in short, I just mentioned two of them. There will be good rewards for those who feel for the poor and make sacrifices to remove miseries and sufferings of other people. So here, this is a Marxist point of view, according to Oscar Wilde, that we should strive and we should struggle to remove classes from the society. All people should be equal. And number two, the outwards beauty doesn't mean a lot. The real beauty is in the person's heart, which have the deep feelings and the ability to feel the sorrow and hardship of others. Again, this this is some moral, ethic, religious, point of view that we should not judge people by their appearance and by their cover. We should look into their morality. We should look at their acts and what they present to others, what they present to the society. So thank you very much for following up. Thank you very much for watching this lecture, and keep tuned and wait for the coming lectures on different works of literature. Thank you very much. Bye bye.